So I'm an Army guy, so let's get started. Again, my name is Steve Edwards. I am the CEO of Premier Virtual. Thank you for attending the webinar and kind of a use case of how organizations are using virtual hiring events, virtual job fairs, and the Premier Virtual, how everything is really working on that platform. So we're going to show you some use cases. We're going to talk a little bit about, why virtual, why hybrid events, and this is always open for you to be able to come in, ask questions. Zach and John will be answering questions if it's in the chat, or they'll tell me and I can answer the question live so that you can make sure that when you leave this webinar, you took something out of it. That's all I want you to be able to do, is just take something out of it within here so that it makes everything just a little bit smoother for you. We all know that virtual is a love it or hate it. We have a lot of organizations that love virtual, only want to go with virtual. We have a lot of people that don't like virtual and they wanted to go back to the in-person events. But how do you get everybody? And that's hybrid. And I'm going to show you some of the hybrid components of what organizations are doing, really to make sure that you can get every candidate and every organization are taken care of. And that's really your goal as a higher education or somebody that's hosting these events. And, I tell people kind of a little of my backstory is I put on in-person job fairs for 9 years before I developed the Premier Virtual platform. So I know in-person events. I loved in-person events, but I really saw where the world was going. We live in a technology-based world. Technology is supposed to make everything easier. People would rather apply online than wait in line. But you still have some people that face-to-face. I love face-to-face. I'm a huge face-to-face guy. I want to be out there. But I have to be able to really make sure that I am helping every single organization out there. And that's where virtual and hybrid really comes in. So I'm going to share again, make sure you guys ask your questions right within the platform, and we'll go from here. So a couple things that we have is I'm going to kind of show you really organizations, how they're using the platform, and dive into the data. When I used to do in-person job fairs, and I want everybody to kind of think of this, right now for a second. You're hosting your in-person job fair, and after the event is over, what do? You walk up, maybe you walk up to the organizations and say, how was the event today? How many resumes did you get? How many interviews did you schedule? A lot of them can't tell you that information. Well, that was stuff that frustrated me on the in-person job fair side. So I wanted to make sure that we put that directly within the virtual platform. We know analytics is key. And some of the stuff that we put in, you're going to look at and you might say, wow, that might be a little too much. But I'm going to show you how to use the analytics and the data to really even make some of your next events even better. So what you're looking at right here, this was the University of Houston. They had their program for excellence in selling. They had a sales career fair. So what you're looking at here is a live dashboard. So if you see, this is when people registered for the events down here in the bottom. We track as they register. So if you're putting marketing out and that something works, you're going to see a big spike in registration. So if it works, let's try it again. Your booth activity, you can see when the booth is busy, when it's not busy. And if you see this event started at 4 o'clock, it went to 7 o'clock. And what happened is attendance went down. A lot of people out there think on virtual like, oh, we can have a longer event. We want to be able to make sure that we can get all the candidates into this event. And that's actually the wrong. When we look at data and study all of the analytics for all of the events that are on our platform, we look at that data. And the long events, the end of the events, there's not a lot of people coming in. Keeping your events between 3 to 4 hours is really good. I've actually even told some of my clients, have a 2-hour job fair. If you have a smaller amount of people and organizations, what is your goal? Your goal is to get the employers and the students or the job seekers at one place to connect at a date, time, and location. And is that date, time, and location virtual or is it in person? So that's really what you want. So a shorter event is not a bad thing. I don't think an hour event, unless you're doing, if your school is doing events, and let's say every Wednesday you have a workforce Wednesday, and instead of bringing those companies in to do interviews on campus, you do it virtually. So maybe you only have it 1 hour, maybe you have it 2 hours. But the thing about virtual is it's so much more than just a job fair. Single employer events, especially if you charge your employers and you use it and you monetize it, why not take it and be able to use more on the virtual side so that you can monetize it more? Every Wednesday, you have a company that comes in and has their own virtual hiring day. So booth activity, all the attendees, all of the organizations, it says how many registered, how many are active in the system, how many logged in, and then how many didn't log in. So you're going to know who logged into the event, who didn't log into the event. And then you see there's a percentages, the top jobs. What this is every time somebody submits their resume, we track that and you have the analytics for all that. And what that does is now this shows you, okay, this was the top job that people submitted their resume to. So now you can look at that and you can say, okay, this makes sense, right? Maybe I need this company. I can reach out to a company and say, hey, you had a lot of submissions of resumes. Maybe we should do it in, just a one-on-one hiring event for just you. Again, thinking outside the box and not just thinking, okay, the job fair is over. How can I use this analytics afterwards? The category visits, this one didn't have categories, but think of it like when a category is something like an industry, a location, maybe a major, where the students come in, and I'm going to show you in a lobby how that looks, is they come in and they're searching for accounting jobs or engineering. They can go into that industry and make it so that they're only talking to companies that they're interested in. There's no wasted time or anything like that. So again, I'm going to get into that a little bit more detail here in a second. The top booths, this shows that the top booths are high that people view are all right here. So again, you're going to know which are the busiest booth. This little man right here, this just shows if somebody has anything, they have special needs that they need. We're all 508 and ADA compliant right within the platform. This shows you how many resumes were submitted. Now, the great thing about this is you as a host are going to know which candidates and where they submitted their resumes. This gives you more analytics, not just, hey, somebody submitted the resume. You're going to know that, and I'm going to show you that here in a little bit. You know how many chat conversations, how many total messages happen. And then over here is a top experience. I'm going to show you this on a candidate side. But we know during busy job fairs, a lot of times the organizations may not have the ability to look at a whole resume. And maybe they want to search. We put a search function for the organizations as well. So if they're searching for specific type of candidates, they can find those. And then you're able to see the top experiences that candidates have. So like you see here, sales associate, maybe if that said, accounting or something else, you could say, wow, I need to have a industry specific job fair. Now, this was an industry specific job fair, but you can go in and you could have the other information and find out what kind of experience the candidates have directly in there. So I have a question here. Is this primary for job fairs or other types of events? Really, it's virtual. So if you want to do it for, a single employer event or a trade show, we get a lot of organizations that do training on our platform because we have built-in webinar, we have the built-in video capability. We also have our own video interview software. We're the only virtual platform that has our own video interview software, like the Spark Hires and the HireViews. So really what you can do is if you want to send Zach or John your email address, we can kind of get in, find out a little bit more of what kind of event you would like to do and kind of tailor something towards you. So this is all the live dashboards. Then after an event, these are the reports that you get. So from an event report, what you see here is everything that happened. You're going to have a breakdown by each organization, how many people visited their booths, how many chats, how many resume submissions, how many total booth visits. You're going to have it broke down by each individual company or candidate that you have in there. The jobs report, this shows every job that an organization had listed and who submitted their resumes. So what a lot of people did in our platform is when they're tracking their hires, they would pull this report. It would show who submitted the resumes. And the only reason I'm not pulling the report to show you is because just for PII, we can't show where it has, because it shows the name, the phone number, the email address. So I can't show you that report because of that. But it's going to show you all their contact information and who submitted the resumes to the jobs. Job seeker, this is all of their contact information that's right in here as well, all of their experience, that's all put in right here. And then resumes are all hard copies. And then you just click this, generate the report, and then you can download all of that report directly in the system right here. You're going to know all of your organizations that are in here, and this is all in your dashboard that you're going to see. If you see this organization, they have 100%, their booth is completely done. This one, they were missing their job postings. Now, why would a company be at a job fair without job postings? I don't know, but maybe they were a resource or something like that. But you could see this one didn't have their job postings. But if you see here how many jobs they had, how many total positions they were available, how many booths, how many conversations, how many video calls, and how many applications. So all of this is the data that's in the reports. And then you have the attendees, their information as well. Again, there's a lot of PII directly on that information. So here's notifications. You don't have to send out emails. You don't have to send out reminders. We do all of that specifically for you. So you're going to see the emails that go out. All of that data is there. And I'm going to show you that a little bit more detail in a second. Now, let me show you a lobby and how to create a lobby. If you see here, this was a lobby where they just had just the companies. So when they come in, oh, I want to look at Facebook. I can come in here. I can look at what Facebook is. I could see their job postings. I could submit. I could read it. I could submit my resume. Now, what you're looking at here is this is my resume, my generic resume that everybody has. But let's just say I want to tailor my resume specifically for this organization. I could tailor it and then upload another PDF right in the system. So it's not just that generic resume. If they want to add a cover letter to it, they could do that specifically as well. This is here where it says click here, business success, blueprint certification. These are all customized by the organizations. So think of a candidate. Candidates come in. It's not just, hey, I'm going to schedule a chat. They can actually see the company, research the company before they even chat. And this is where they chat directly with the organization. Now, this event is over. If there was recruiters, it would show how many recruiters are online and who's online. Candidates can also come in here. They can leave notes about the organization, and this is all tracked in their journey tab, so they don't have to take notes on pieces of paper. We track it all for them, and only they can see that. They can rank the companies. They can actually even put a status if they're interested or they schedule an interview. So all of that is built directly within kind of the platform that's there. And if you see up here on the top, this is a banner that is created for this event. You see, they put their company's names on there. So what that does is that allows you as the host, if you're monetizing, you could put the sponsors up here. You know, you can really customize this banner of what you want it to look like. So I'm going to jump over here. This is FAU that uses it. If you see here, this is their virtual career expo in the spring of 23. This was their fall. This is where they did a hybrid event. So they had an in-person first, and then they did the virtual side of it. So you can see, you can do different ones. They had their internship fair. This is one where they had a carnival of all of their majors that they had. And when you come in, you can kind of see, oh, they changed that one up. So you can kind of see on all of these events where they have the information that's in here. So we'll come in here to this one. So they did it by their career partners. engineering, and then they had all their career center booths. So they really made it, again, customizable based on how you want to customize it. Here is their March 30th job fair, and then they broke it up by each one of their majors. So this was an all careers one. So if you think, if I'm in education, I only want to look at the companies that are hiring in education. So now I don't have to waste time or anything like that as well. All right, looks like I got a couple questions. I'm going to jump in. All right. Oh, looked at the wrong one. That was just the chat. All right. So you can see here, you can use this for not just large job fairs, but you can use it for your internships as well, right within the system. All right. This is their accounting and internship fair. This was their FAU technology and engineering. So not only large job fairs, industry specific, single employer hiring events. This was the Colorado Community College System. This was actually a career fair with all the colleges, so that now students could come in and see a little bit about the colleges and stuff like that as well. So again, it's a little bit more is, how do I want to learn about this college? So again, it's not just that college fair. You know, you could do this if you're hiring for teachers. You know, we see a lot of, it's more school districts, but they do a lot of teacher job fairs on the platform as well. You know, here's one. This was Napa Valley College that came in. And if you see, again, they did it based on kind of industries that were in here. And once they came in, they could see the companies, go directly into the companies right from here, see the job postings. Now, if you see here, this is Book a Time. I'm going to show you this a little bit more when we get to the organization side of it, when I'm showing you that, because now not only can they do a live chat, but they could book a time with a live recruiter. So they can skip the line. You know, it's almost like you take that cue and you put it on steroids, because now I'm choosing the exact time I want to speak with a recruiter. So it makes it very efficient for the candidates to come in, especially when you see one that, you know, might have, you know, 20 companies in it. They could book their time, and that candidate comes in, looks at the companies that they want to look at, books the time they want, and they make their job fair very efficient, right? When you're looking at setting up a job fair, right, you want it efficient, you want it easy, you want to make it so you can connect that job seeker and that recruiter all together. And then how do you do it? And then what are the analytics that you get afterwards? You know, here's another one. If you see College of Marin, it goes in and it shows all of this information that is in here as well. So I want to show you this. I clicked on education, and now you see there's 10 companies in here that are hiring. Now, let's just say I'm a candidate. I want to search now, and I'm looking for a certain job title, and I want to be a swim instructor. I click on that swim instructor, and now it just pulls the 2 companies. So that candidate just went from a lobby to seeing the exact jobs that they're looking for. So it makes their lobby and their life efficient. Because what you don't want to do when you're setting up a job fair is just have you know, a bunch of companies. And I'm going to show you this one real quick because of that. This company had 17,000 job seekers and 1,700 companies in one job fair. It's the largest ever job fair. And I like to show this to really show the power of the virtual platform. But if you look at this, when they came in and you look at this company, they had 444 companies just in Southeast Massachusetts. Now, if I'm a candidate, do I want to search through 444 companies, or do I want to come in and say, okay, you know what? I'm only looking for a customer service associate, and now I have 19. So now I go into those 19 companies. I don't have to go into every booth. I can look specifically for what I want it to be. Again,
hey Steve, real quick, we do have a question really quickly. Someone's written in, is this primarily for job fairs, or
I already
candidates
answered that, Zach.
Okay, we just had another one come in. Do you find individuals are still interested in virtual fairs? Our students are back on campus and prefer in person after a few years of everything online.
That's a great question. So that kind of goes back to what I was saying in the beginning is some people are very pro virtual. Some people are pro in person. And what you have to do is kind of find out from your organizations and your attendees. We've seen an uptick. Obviously, when COVID hit, virtual was 100%, right? Everybody had to go virtual. But then what you had is your in-person started to come back just a little bit. And then even the in-person job fairs, people stopped coming just a little bit. And that was one of the big reasons why I went virtual. Now, I wasn't a college, I was a for-profit company, but I saw the numbers go down back in 2018. So really with the virtual, and we saw some, they didn't advertise as much on the virtual side as in person. It's definitely easier to advertise an in-person job fair at the college when you put signs all over. And everybody knows, hey, there's a job fair because you have signs posted all over the place. But you have to think, what are you doing? Are you doing the same thing on virtual that you're doing on in-person? You're going to have those people, students and organizations that want the in-person. But what you have to do in each college I say has to look at themselves to see what is your student body as well as the organizations want. And how do we make sure that we get everybody? And that's why hybrid is really important. And I'm going to show you kind of the hybrid side of things here in a second, so you know what hybrid is. We really have a great event that one of our clients, now this is not a school district, but this is one of our clients out in California. And when they did their event that's in here, okay. So if you see here, they did their virtual job fair on April 19th, and they did their in-person job fair a week later. Now, if you see, they had 42 companies on their virtual. They had 34 person on their in-person. So once they had this is what they did, is they set this up so that the organizations could come, the candidates could come in, see the companies, see the jobs that they had in here, and then they could say, okay, this is a company that I want to talk to. So again, is they took the virtual component of almost using it like a job board so that the candidates could see that. And then when they came into the job fair, they just went to the companies that they talked to. Hopefully that answered the question. I know it's a long road, and, everybody has something a little bit differently of what you like. And what I tell everybody, it's not about you. You may not like virtual, but what is the end user really like, right? And we know, especially, the college students right now, they've lived on technology. They've been in technology their entire lives. They're used to technology. They're used to this kind of things. Some people do want that face-to-face, but think about your organizations as well. How many times at that in-person job fair is that candidate standing in line? They're so excited. They wait in line. They get to the front of that line. They say, hi, my name is Steve, and I'm looking for an accounting job. And they're like, sorry, I only have engineering jobs. Now they got to go wait in another line. So this is where they can do and research kind of before what the companies are. Second, what happens out there is they get in line, they're excited. Hi, I'm Steve. I'm looking for an engineering job. Great. Tell me your name. Okay, I look at my resume. Here's this, go apply online. The candidates get frustrated at that. They waited in line, they talk to these companies, but now they're getting told to go apply online as well. So how can you make sure the companies aren't doing that? How can you make sure that they're spending a little bit more time? I don't think anybody has that answer. But with kind of the virtual, is they can go into the videos, they can really kind of help and do stuff just a little bit more. And now I'm going to show you kind of creating creating an event. I want to show you a couple things that our organizations have or that we have that some other people don't have. If you see here, there's this tool called the hiring metrics tool. What we track is every resume submission that's in here is tracked in the system. So now you have a hiring metrics tool that goes out to the organizations after the event, and you can turn it on or you can turn it off. If you turn it on, it goes out to the organizations and they're going to be able to see who got hired directly out of your event. So if you want to know and really track the ROIs on here, you can now turn this system on and it'll look like this. So now I have this company right here, Premier Virtual. We know all of the positions that we're hiring for, how many resume submissions, all right here. And now I can click on it and see who they hired, who's in progress, who they interviewed, and who they didn't hire. We're the only platform out there that has a hiring metrics tool to track that. And again, you can turn that on or you can turn that off. So if you want to know the ROI and see who's getting hired, you can do that as well.
Question for you, Steve. Is there API or plugin integration into a jobs database possible?
So technically, the organizations can go, like if we looked at Simplicity, we'd have to see what their API, what they have. We have an open API that we can read and write, so we can integrate with different ATSs. We would just have to find out with Simplicity if they would allow us to do that. Now, if they are doing that, or technically they could do that. So if I looked at an organization right here, and we had, that's not a good one because they didn't have anything in there. None of these have anything. All right, so here's one. They have their careers page right here. So they could go right to their careers page. So they could put their careers page, they could put their Simplicity links right in here. Also in the job postings, again, these are HTML boxes. So you can see here, if they wanted to, they could put their link directly in here, like Amazon. Amazon, when they do their events on ours, they actually just put their link to take them directly to the Amazon site that's in there. All right. So again, this is the hiring metrics tool. What I want to show here is this is the event QR code. So if you're doing a hybrid event, this is your QR code. So a candidate could come to the event, they can scan this QR code. Now it tracks that they came into the in-person event. Then they could go up to each, and you see here, this is the demo event. And if they had here, this right here shows my booth one. So each organization has their own booth QR code as well. So a candidate can scan that QR code, shows that they visited the booth. They can, if there was a long line, which we know, let's use Enterprise Rent-A-Car, right? They recruit out of almost every college that's out there. Enterprise always has a super long line. Well, what they could do, that candidate could scan that QR code, see the jobs that they have, just to make sure that they're interested in those type of jobs as well. So again, it makes it just a little more efficient. And this is why, or what organizations are using for their hybrid events. Creating an event, I'm just going to get into this real quick just to kind of show you kind of some of the high level things that we have. Creating an event, name, self-explanatory. This is your customized banner. So again, you can make this if you want to charge sponsors. You know, I know there's some colleges out there charge sponsors for different things. You put their name on here. These are questions. So again, we track name, phone number, email address that we get when they register for the event. But if there's other data that you want, you know, what year are you in college? What's your major? Are you looking to, you know, where are you looking to relocate? You could create all of these questions that you want, and you can make them text input, single choice, multiple choice, or yes, no questions. So any data that you want, you can put in these questions as well, right here. Now down here, these are video questions. What this is again, this is our video interview software. A lot of people don't use this for big job fairs, but for single employer hiring events, they come in, they have a little video, they watch a video, and then they answer it. So now these organizations can kind of pre-screen these candidates as well. And that's all built right into the system. This is the customized lobby. So you can customize, what you want your lobby to look like. You can use stuff that we have, or you could upload your own lobby. This is where you could put your school, the school logo or anything like that. This is the hiring metrics tool. Again, you can turn it on, you can turn it off. Over here to the right, these are all of the email notifications that go out. And this is the email that goes out. It's always going to have their candidate first name. It's going to have thank you for registering or reminder. It'll have the event title so they know what's coming to them. We have a training video that's in there, all that information. And then they have, again, this is a 24 reminder. We do both for both the attendees and the organization. Now, if you see, these are check marks here. So let's just say you don't want to send out a 24-hour reminder. You want to customize something. You could turn the email off. You could download it through the reports and send your own email as well. This is the enable the scheduler. So this is where they can book a time specifically with the recruiter. Now, why do we make it so they can turn it on or off? Sometimes people just want to have open job fairs. They don't want to have, book a time. Sometimes they only want to book a time. We give you the choice again. And one thing you'll see with Premier Virtual is we're very customizable based on what you have. If I look at everybody that's on this call, there may be something specific that you want that somebody else doesn't want. So we want to make sure that we can really help every organization out there. So that's why a lot of the stuff is you can turn it on, you can turn it off. Also, the good thing about Premier Virtual is we have a dedicated client success team for you. So once you become a Premier Virtual client, you now have a dedicated client success person. They're going to train you. We train organizations. We've done Instagram lives. We've done live webinars as well for organizations and students. So we can make sure they're trained. We do this on a daily basis. We want to make sure that we take all of the pressure off of you and handle all of your training for you. So you don't have to worry about any of that. We have live support during every single event. Now, most of you are all here in the US. We've done worldwide events where it was a 24-hour event, went all through the day into the next day. We had live staff even during the middle of the night. We didn't need to, but we had it just in case somebody has questions. We have a customer support. We have a great training and help center as well. So if people can come in, they can chat, email, or call us. We're always there for them. Setting up, this is just the time that you want the event. And here's a great thing is we have an early access time. So let's just say your job fair is at Tuesday, starts at 10 o'clock. You could use early access time so the candidates could come in 3 days before, look at all of the jobs, all of the companies, and say, okay, out of these 20, 50, 100 companies, I want to talk to these 10. They can book their time directly with them, see the companies before it, and then go in. And so that day of that job fair, they don't have to be searching. They can go in and just look at everything. All right. I know I got a couple questions here. I just want to get through this last thing quick. This is your registration or landing page. It's all customizable based on what you want to put in. It's a graphic. You can put videos in here as well. So now these candidates can see exactly, maybe they watch a video. We've had people sell commercials or sell videos to their sponsors where they would put a little sponsor video on here as well. And then they can put their Facebook Pixel, Google Tag Manager to track where the hiring all comes in. And then this is the categories. So if you remember back in here, all of these categories that they created right here, you're creating it right here. So you can make it location, industry, major, again, really making it as efficient as you want it to be. All right. So a couple questions in here. Did that job listing have a blue button that said apply here? Yes. So that there is an apply button. We're going to get in here. So when they have their job listings, it's here. That's the apply to the job right here, down here at the bottom. So it kind of takes up the whole bottom of the screen that's in here. And this is all mobile friendly as well. So you have that. And yes, for the analytics, we only track if they submit their resume through here. So, almost back to that other question, if they're driving them to an off-site place, you're not going to know. And that's where a lot of organizations is they're sending them to their ATS system or their careers page. Well, you're not going to be able to see all of that data that they submitted the resumes. All right. And then, back to the question, is the tracking based, that hiring metrics tool that we have back in here too. If you look at this, is if I come in here to this system and I click QA, if you go here and I'm in this system, I can see everybody every attendee that visited my booth. So even if they didn't submit their resume, I could say that we hired that candidate as well. So you can now track on the hybrids as well. So now, great question, Deborah. The question is who owns the data? The applicant, the recruiter, you as the developer. Our recruiters, well, let's get to that. Everybody has their profile. So the job seeker has their profile. They see what they submitted. The organization, they have their data, and then you as the host, you have all of the event data. So you're going to know, and that comes back in here to the reports on the jobs report. You're going to know who submitted their resume to which positions. So you have that data as well. Are recruiters able to search through all the applicants? Can applicants opt out of being put into a pool? So yes, the candidates, the organizations can search for the candidates, but you as a host can choose if you want that to be. So if you only want the organizations to see the candidates that came to their booth, you can do that, right? It's a click of a button. If you want them to be able to see all of the organizations, and come right here. So if you see, this is the attendees list, this is reveal candidates. So if you want the organizations to see the attendees, you would click this button. If you took that off and that wasn't here, they would only see the organization, or they would only see the candidates that came to their booth. Is it possible to limit recruiter jobs to a college or a company and applicants to their college or company only? Based on what you said, seems the host can control this. I mean, realistically, you as a host, you're going to be able to see what the organizations have, their jobs and everything. There's no real limitation of to say, hey, you can't put more than 5 jobs in, or you can't put this type of jobs in, but you have the ability to make it. And I'm going to come right here, show you this. You can have restricted access for the organizations. You can as the attendees as well. So if you restrict the access, now they're going to come in here. You would look at the pending organization, look at all their information, look at the jobs they have, and say, hey, you have something in here that we don't want posted. You're a network marketing company and we don't want you recruiting at our college. You can restrict their access just by putting the pending organizations that are in here. So yes, you can do that. It's just, you would just have to, click it so that you can make it. And we see that a lot more now, just because they want to know, the organizations want to know, and especially the colleges, if you're monetizing this, is they make sure everybody pays first before they approve their organization. So a couple other real quick things in here. This is kind of the video interview software, and I'm not going to get into this too detailed, but this is where if you wanted to create like a video interview right here, we have 72 generic questions that are in here. If you see, they're all kind of basic questions. And if you look at our wonderful models that were in here, especially our little alien that's here, as Zach would like to call it, but they have these informations here. And then what you can do is you can say, okay, I want to choose this or not. But the great thing too is, if you can see here, is if I wanted to create my own question, if you as a host wanted to create a question, you can create your own questions for the event as well. You don't have to use our organizations. We also have like a global post. So let's just say you wanted to, there's 20 minutes left of the job fair. You can do a global notification to send out to all of the job seekers and organizations to say 20 minutes left of the job fair. Or let's say Lockheed Martin is doing a live webinar at 10 o'clock and ABC Mortgage at 11. You could send out a message to all the job seekers. Lockheed Martin is doing a live webinar on what they do. So you can do this for that. So Deborah, great question. How do we charge? Is it by fair or is it by company? We have annual agreements that we come in. Our annual agreement is $15,300. That gives you unlimited events on the platform. If you want to do a monthly event, you could do a monthly event. If you want to do a quarterly event, you could do quarterly. If you want to do weekly, you could do weekly. We have, again, if you wanted to do quarterly big job fairs and then monthly, you want to have industry specifics. And then, a couple times a month, you want to have industry or specific employers, you can do all that. There's no limitations on how many organizations, on how many video. So there's no additional. That's just a straight flat cost, no additional cost. What's there? So if you go with a the monthly event, if you were going, we don't do a monthly one right now, but we have a one-time event which is $3,500. So if you just want to do one event, a one-off, that's $3,500 to do the event. All right. So I know we're getting kind of close to the time. We've got some great questions here. I'm going to jump to an organization real quick just to kind of show you how they set up an organization goes through. We have a step-by-step setup wizard for each organization, step 1, step 2. But what it does is it breaks it down in a step. So they fill out their name, they fill out their about information, and this is all copy and pasted right in here. This is where they can put whatever social media link that they want to put in there, so they can customize it as much as they want. They can then create all of their users, all of their recruiters that are in here. So each recruiter would have access to their booth. This is where they put their job postings. Now you see some are active, some are disabled. Sometimes an organization may be hiring 1 month for something, the next month they might not. So instead of deleting it, they can just disable the job or enable the job. And it's very simple. It's all copy and paste. But what's great about here is they have a job title, and this is all searchable within the system. So when the organizations are putting in their jobs, candidates can search for those. When candidates are putting in their experience, organizations can search for it, right? So very similar to how Indeed does kind of their matching system is what we have here. But we all know, especially with now, they have some crazy job titles that are out there, is they could have a unique job title. So this is what a lot of people, it's very simple for them to understand. They have teacher, so it's searched for, but now they can say this is a 4th grade teacher. They can have all of their locations. They can put if it's remote or wherever, so they don't have to put a job posting for every single location. This is the available positions so that you now know how many jobs postings that they have. Salary, this is a text box. This is the active or disabled. Again, they can make it right here. This is their job description. Again, copy, paste, HTML, make it as sexy as they want to make it. All right here. They verify it's good, and then they can come in and put their jobs directly in here. And then this is where they get to have a little fun with their booth. All the information that's in here that they're creating, again, what do they want these organizations to see or these candidates to see when they log directly into their booth? And then they can create, what do they want their booth to look like? They can pick a background, and then they can pick an avatar directly in there. So again, this is where they can have some fun. Then they can look at and see, okay, this is what my booth looks like. Here's all my social media. All that goes right in here. And then here's where they can have their calendar. So the great thing about this calendar is each recruiter has their own calendar. So if they want to have book 5-minute meetings. Recruiter 1 wants to book a 5-minute meeting, and the other ones want to do longer meetings. They can choose how long they want to have, because the more meetings they have, the more people they can talk to. But we have some that are using the first line, that we'll call it, the first recruiters that are saying hi to the people. They have 5-minute book times on there. And now there's always live chat, but this is if they want to have one-on-one video calls. They can have 5 minutes, and then once they say, hey, this person is great, they're going to go on to the next person. They might have a little bit longer times that are in here. So we have, and then once they click on here, they can have their time, and you can see it's very easy for them to save their time. So now they're putting all of their times directly in here that they're available just for one-on-one times. They can see their other recruiter schedules as well. So again, they can know, sometimes we'll see on some job fairs where one recruiter will take 1 hour, the next recruiter takes the next hour, the next recruiter takes the next hour. So they can make it really, again, customizable to what they want to be able to have. And then once they go in, they see their events. We're going to come in here. You see here, they have their availability. So if they didn't have it availability and you had that scheduler turned on, it would ask them to update their availability. This is their booth. If they had any visitors that were live active, it would show here. Anybody who registered for the event is right here. And this goes back to a question I think somebody asked earlier, is the search function. So if I wanted to search, I could search, go right here. I could search for these candidates and go right here. These are all the submitted resumes. This is where they have their schedule. If they had any upcoming meetings, we'll go for here. Now we're going to jump over here just real quick. I'm going to look at Steve attendee, but before I get into Steve, I'm going to jump over to the I'm going to answer some questions and then jump over to the attendee. So question was, how long does the data remain in the particular fair for us? As long as you're a client of Premier Virtual, that data is in there, right? If a candidate or an organization ever wants to delete their data, we can delete their data for them. So it really depends on you if you want to keep it in there or you can delete it. You can. As a host, we can't delete a candidate or organization's profile because that's their profile, but we can delete your data. Are the posting form fields customizable or are they a one default form? Yes, so it is, you can make it mandatory. So where you said you require salary and other info, that data, when you're creating and editing the event that's in there, you can choose what you want mandatory. So you can have all of that information. So want to be similar to jobs and internship data like cancer? Yes. So you can, again, you can customize what you want in there. Are one-on-one appointments available at career fairs, group meetings, or just stand in line meetings? You can have all three. Okay. And I'm about to show you that here from the attendee side. So, all right. So I'm going to jump over to the attendee again, just real quick on the profile side from the attendee. This is the job seeker. So if I want to edit my profile, I can come in here. This is the profile. Again, when they come in, it has a setup wizard. It says step 1, fill out your name. Step 2, they can put their bio in here. This is where they have their experience. So now if you see this on their experience, they can choose any one of these, and we pull the database. There's about 7,000 jobs that are in here. Titles. So if I clicked on sales and business development, you see there's everything that's in here. If you ever see anything missing, we'll add it, but we got pretty much everyone in there. Like I said, there's about 7,000 job titles within everything. They can then click on it. You see the ones that are green are the ones that the background that they have. We also have IT certifications that are in here. We have security clearance as well as teacher certifications. All right. So come in here as a candidate. Again, I can put my LinkedIn profile right here as well. So if an organization wants to see my LinkedIn, they can. Now I'm coming here to a candidate. These are all of the events that I'm in. We're going to go to this. So Deborah, this will answer your question about a booth map. Okay. So again, you're creating your lobby. You can either have booths, you can create it by anything. So we're going to go in here to location. I'm going to click on Fort Lauderdale. I'm going to come into the Premier Virtual booth. From here, again, I can see about the company. I can look at all of their social media. I can see their jobs. I could come in here. I could submit my resume, choose which one I submitted. apply to the job, it shows that I applied directly to that job. Now you see it shows which jobs I've applied for. This is where if I want to book a time. Now, they can come in, they could be chatting with the candidates, or they could book a time. So this gives them the availability to either book a time. Now you see there's two recruiters here. This recruiter is the accounting recruiter. This is the IT recruiter. So they can title whatever they want it to be. Again, if that job seeker is coming in and they're looking for an engineering job, why do they want to talk to the accounting recruiter? So they can come in and book a time specifically with this candidate or with this organization. So now they booked a time. You see up here to the right, they now have a new meeting that is scheduled directly with that recruiter. So they can have, you can have an open job fair, or they can book a time. And if recruiter 1 could have 10-minute time slots, recruiter 2 could have 20-minute time slots. So again, it's all customizable based on what that recruiter wants. Then you could come in. This is where if I wanted to research all the organizations that are here, I could look at this. I could, kind of go back and forth and really look at, right, researching the company. What do job seekers want to be able to do? They want to be able to see what a company does, submit their resume, research the company and say, okay, this is a very interesting company that's here. Now let me come in and let me send a chat message. So a candidate can start the chat, or a recruiter can start a chat. Now I got to turn my Zoom camera off right here for a second. All right. So I'm going to jump back over here to the organization side. So now you see I have a meeting. I can either join this meeting, but what I want to do is I'm going to look at this candidate that just booked a meeting. I can come in here, look at this candidate's profile. I can leave notes if I want. I can see all of their questions. I can go to his LinkedIn, check the LinkedIn. I can look at their resumes. If they had the video, I could watch the video here, and I could see this experience and say, okay, this looks like a great candidate. I could invite them if it was pre, but we already know this candidate's in my room, so I don't have to invite them to the room. Now I can go in and I can send them a video. I can do a one-on-one call. So that's going to be right here. I'm going to jump over to the job seeker, and you see you've been invited to a video conference. So now I'm going into a video. So you can see how easy that was to jump into a video, but we also have the capability where they could do video conference. They could do a group call where everybody sees each other, or they could do a webinar. Now, if they're doing a webinar or a group, they could start it now, or they could create it for the future. So we know sometimes during virtual job fairs, we see a lot of organizations that will create, hey, here's a time, 10 o'clock, we're going to do a live presentation to talk about what we do. So now the candidates can come in, see what the company does, have that live time to see what they do, and then they can book their one-on-one time. So I'm going to start it. I could choose whoever I wanted as my recruiters or my other people in my booth to be in. Then I can come in, and you can see right here, I can either select all the people that I want, or I could just select one or two. I can start my meeting. Now, I'm not going to go back in and go to the video just like I did last time because you guys saw that. But what I want to show you down here is I can invite my participants, again, my presenters, my attendees. You can see I already invited this person, so I don't need to invite them again. I can come in here. I can show all of my participants. Blue means they're in. Red means they're not in. I can share my screen just like you can do on Zoom or any other video platform, and I can record. So all of the same functionality that you have within a Zoom, you have right within the platform. So, and then all of that data, again, if you come back in here to the events tab of things, I can see all of my data from the organization. Again, I have all of my reports. We have the hiring metrics tool, right? That one's not created for this open event yet. So all of that information is right here. We then have for the attendees, if I come in here to the attendees events, if you see here, I have my journey. This shows any action that I took during the event, all the booths that I visited. all the organization actions, and then all my chat scramsets. So Deborah, no, there's not a booth diagram layout of where every single booth is for the in-person events. So that is it. If you can see, there's a lot of functionality. There's a lot of different use cases for organizations and attendees directly within this, within the platform. It's very customizable for what you want on the virtual side of things. And as you're looking to do virtual, you're looking to do hybrid events. Again, and Deborah, one thing, it may not have had the booth where each booth is at in there, but if you look back into something like this event right here, which was this event. To come back over here to this hybrid event. You see there's a lot of hybrid events that are that were in there. When you look at this event right here, and they have their in-person job fair, you can move these booths around. So if you really wanted to move it around to say, okay, this is the first booth, and as you come in the room and stuff like that, you could make this is all customizable, the layout of the booths. So you could make it, right, if you walk in and you say, okay, go to the left, this is the first booth, this is the second, this is the third, fourth, and stuff like that. You could make it like that. You could get as customizable as when you click into this in-person job fair, you could say the outside booths and then the inside booth. So again, it's very customizable based on what you're looking for. So if anybody has any questions, Zach and John will drop their emails in, so you can send us an email. They'll put their email in, and then you can get kind of a more customized one-on-one and really answer all your questions. Hopefully today that, as you were looking at this, you can see how virtual is there, right? Handshake, they got a phenomenal platform with Talent Space that they have. There's just some different things that we have. A lot of our clients that use us have Handshake as well. They just use our platform. They use, they have Simplicity. They use our platform. Just a lot of analytics that come out of this. But if you ever want to see a more detailed or anything, or just have any questions about, hey, how can I make a better event? How can I do a single employer hiring event? Again, with our platform, you can put as many events on. You don't have to call us and say, hey, can I put it on this date? We've had 30 events on the same day before with no downtime, no outages. The largest ever job fair with 1,700 companies, 17,000 job seekers was on the Premier Virtual Platform. We're one of the top rated ones. You can look us up on G2 or Select Software Reviews that we have all our top rated customer service. We have been in business, Deborah, you asked that question. We've been in business in the virtual space since 2019. I hosted in-person job fairs since 2012. So I've been in this industry hosting job fairs, switched over to virtual, developed the Premier Virtual in 2019. We started developing in January of 2019 because I saw a big change in people stopped coming to in-person job fairs. And we went all virtual. 2019 is when we launched the Premier Virtual. Everybody knows what happened, with COVID, kind of changed it again. And not everybody wants to be virtual. Not everybody wants in person, but it's how can you take all of these events and put them together so that you, right? Because your job as a higher education installation is to service your students as well as your organizations. Some of them want in person, some of them want virtual. Hybrid works for all of them. We appreciate your time today. We'll send out a follow-up email as well, just in case anybody else has any other questions. But thank you for attending the webinar today, and have a great rest of the week.